Okay, class. Today, to wrap up our city planning unit, we're going to be talking about the final 3 civil projects for our city square. We're in the final round of our Keep Our City Beautiful campaign for the city's 100-year anniversary, and we need to narrow these projects down to 1. So first, let's review the basic plan for each project. Ready? The first one would prohibit cars from driving in the city square. Instead, the square would be made into a pedestrian-only zone, no cars or motorcycles, with art exhibits and food and beverage stands all around. The second project would add 2 small parks to the outside of the square. The final project would create a skate park for the young people of the area to use for skateboarding, inline skating, and other activities. As you discuss these 3 projects, remember that the city planner is listening to ideas from our group and others for her final design. So you can help her transform the way we use our old city square. You should really take this task seriously because you're helping to change the historic part of our town. Any questions? Okay. You've got 10 minutes to make your decisions.
Before we start, I think we should develop some criteria to help guide our decisions. For example, with my last group, we came up with 3 must-haves to help us make our decision.
Okay, what criteria should we use?
Well, in my opinion, whatever the project brings needs to be fun. I read an article where a researcher said cities with fun urban spaces have healthier residents.
Right, but it also needs to be practical. I don't think they should change the personality of our square too much. We've already seen the problems that inevitably happen with bad planning.
Like what?
Like when they place speakers around all the ponds to mimic the sounds of nature, for instance. Remember? It scared away all the ducks. We're still trying to get the poor little guys to come back.
So we want the project to be fun and practical. That's 2 criteria. I'd also like to add that the change should attract young people to the city center. The survey by the mayor's office showed that 75% of people ages 16 to 24 felt that they didn't have any good places to hang out in town. Those kinds of numbers suggest that we need to create a space for those people. So we're looking for something fun, practical, and draws young people. So let's talk about which project plans meet our criteria. So, closing the square off would encourage more people to walk around in the old square, and we could set up some stands and stuff, which might be fun, but it might not bring a significant amount of young people in. I mean, there are already lots of places to walk in town.
I agree. It would also be really inconvenient to have to drive around the square to get to the other side of town. I drive through that square at least twice a day.
Right, but eventually some roads are probably going to be closed off to cars. The chapter we read in our book last week said that there's a trend towards encouraging more walking in city centers. It's a health issue. It'll probably come up at some point.
Eventually, maybe, but it's not something I vote for right now. I just got my license. I love driving. Taking away my chance to drive in the city center wouldn't be practical or fun for me.
I agree. I was hoping we'd say no to the pedestrian walkway project. Besides, according to the mayor, we need something a bit more imaginative.
Well, what about the skate park idea?
Are you kidding? Those places are dangerous. A lot of the kids don't wear the right equipment. Who's going to be responsible for what happens there? Not the city.
That's true, but I read that skate parks have a lot of benefits for kids, like improved physical fitness and a place to hang out in a healthy environment.
That's an interesting point. I think the skate park idea might be our winner. The mayor's survey also showed that 6 out of 10 parents would like their children to be more active. A skate park would definitely create more activity options for younger people.
Right, but is it practical? I mean, are the kids really going to use it? What about the winter? I don't think they're going to hang out a lot outdoors then, so we'd only get those advantages for part of the year. And then there's the responsibility thing. Kids getting hurt would really be in contrast with the goals of this project, so I don't think the city would want to risk it.
True. Maybe this idea isn't practical or safe. What about the third idea? The one about the parks?
Well, the article we read last week argued that parks have two big benefits. First, they give people a place to be active and get together. They can walk, run, play games, stuff like that. The article also explains that parks enhance the lifestyle of city residents by giving them a place to be in nature. The journalist who wrote it, Richard Louv, argues that protecting our natural spaces in the country isn't enough. We have to create green spaces in the city as well. Project 3 does help to do that.
I like this park idea.
Yeah, people could also have picnics in the park.
So I'd say the park idea definitely meets the criterion of fun. And parks do attract young people. There are always a lot hanging out whenever I go to Prior Park, so it meets both those criteria.
And the plan is practical. It would be easy to turn those empty lots to park space. For instance, you could roll out some sod, plant some fast-growing trees, and stick some shrubs and bushes in. Easy.
Okay, so are we deciding to vote for the parks?
Yeah. I think the park idea fits our criteria better than the other two ideas. It's fun, practical, and interesting to young people. According to the guidelines for the campaign, we need a plan that benefits every citizen in town. I think a park does that too.
Okay, sounds good. So the parks get our vote. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed. The parks it is.
All right, class, so we're ready for the final vote.